Tomorrow, the U.S. House of Representatives is expected to vote on the so-called Respect for Marriage Act, codifying the court's redefinition of marriage into federal law. Now, it goes way beyond that, as we've talked about repeatedly on this program, about the attacks on religious freedom that this will foster, just as we're seeing right today, this case we were just talking about before the Supreme Court. But among the many disappointing aspects of the process by which this bill was maneuvered through Congress was that 12 Republican senators joined every Democrat in a lame duck session of Congress voting for it, despite well-documented warnings on the threat this bill poses for religious freedom. Well, among those GOP senators voting for this bill is retiring Missouri Senator Roy Blunt, a friend of mine who I talked to about this bill. He voted 3 times to move this bill past a filibuster, a complete 180 from both how he initially ran for office and how he has legislated in the past. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. He publicly spoke out lobbying his senator to oppose the Disrespect for Marriage Act. Secretary Ashcroft, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thanks for having me.
Let me ask you, why? I mean, I've held office and I know how sensitive it is when you speak out against another elected official in your state, but you spoke out very clearly about this, calling upon Senator Blunt, who is a friend, to represent the views of a majority of those in Missouri and vote against this. Why did you speak out?
Well, I was very disappointed by what he had done. I called him on his cell phone, left him a message. I felt that if I had a problem with what he'd done, I should go directly to him. I wanted to offer him a chance to explain why I was wrong. And when he didn't get back to me, the only option left for me was to send out a public letter to make sure that it was understood that I did not believe what was going on was correct. I believe that the right of people to practice their religion and worship in the way that they see fit should be protected. And the idea of our Congress passing laws allowing citizens to sue other citizens for, quote, wrong thing was an abomination.
What problems do you foresee for the people of Missouri based upon this piece of legislation, if in fact it passes the House tomorrow and President Biden signs it into law?
Well, one of the foundational principles of our country is that we, the people, are allowed to worship freely and to worship how we see fit. We don't have to get permission from our government or from our neighbors as to what we can believe. And under this bill, this is creating a private right of action. It's creating an opportunity for the Department of Justice to go after people whose religious beliefs, sincerely held religious beliefs, conflict with how other people want to live their lives. It's an extremely massive step away from how this country was founded, and it will eventually affect every individual who has a deeply held religious faith, regardless of what that faith is, and that will affect every Missourian.
Have you heard from Senator Blunt since you went public with your plea?
No, I haven't, and I'm probably off of his Christmas card list. I understand that, but I think it's important for people of faith. Frankly, I think it's important for everyone to be vocal in government, and I think all elected officials have a responsibility to be open to communications from their constituents.
He is retiring, and the Attorney General for the state, Eric Schmidt, is going to be taking his place. Has he stated where he would stand on the issue?
I have not heard from him, but I haven't asked him. I believe that he would affirm what the people of the state have held. I believe that he would affirm that the federal government does not have the constitutional authority to state marriage laws or to create marriage laws. That's been always left to the province of the states. And I firmly believe that he would agree that after the people of this country have voted just less than a month ago to change the leadership of Congress, that matters of this importance should not be taken up in a lame duck session.
Yeah, I agree. This type of stuff should not happen when you have leaders who will never stand before their voters again to be held accountable. It's always disastrous when we have things like this occur. Well, Secretary Ashcroft, I want to thank you for joining us. And again, I want to thank you for the courage for speaking out. I agree with you. I think some of these things matter so much because they will have such a profound impact on the future of our country that we must speak out, and I thank you for doing so.
Thank you for having me.